What's going on, ProGuides fam? Welcome back to another video. My name is Renox, and today I'll be your own personal guide on your way to near perfect aim. It's my pleasure to share with you these useful tips and tricks to improve your aim, which can potentially help you feel more confident to better equipped win your Valorant games. It's my pleasure to share with you these useful tips and tricks to improve your aim, which can potentially help you feel more confident and better equipped to win your Valorant games. Before we get into the fun details, as always, we have our question of the day. How do you guys feel about the flash buffs that they introduced in the most recent Valorant patch? From my perspective, flash agents were highly in meta as of recently, and this buff has only further pushed us towards that meta. I think that agents like Breach and Skye were already strong enough to begin with, and that the flash buffs just weren't really necessary. That's just my thoughts though, and be sure to leave what you think in the comments down below. With that being said, let's get straight into the video.
The very first step to developing yourself into a player with great aim is finding a sensitivity that suits you. The biggest mistake I see many players make is copy someone else's sensitivity to the exact decimal. By all means, looking at your favorite players for a sensitivity can point you in a good general direction, but the problem is all people are built different. The perfect sensitivity is one that you must figure out for yourself. Using someone else's will only do you so much, and it's unlikely that copying that sensitivity will be perfect for you. One of the easiest ways to figure out a sensitivity that works well for you is by going into the range and testing it out slowly. A good sensitivity to start out is around 800 DPI and 0.4 in-game sensitivity. By starting at a baseline like this, you can go down and up from here to find a sensitivity that really resonates with you. Start by flicking between the bots. Add in some tracking as you move around the bot and see if it's comfortable to pull down as you spray. From here, it should be easy to tell if you're overshooting or undershooting the targets. If you're overshooting, look to lower your sensitivity to the point where you're no longer overshooting. On the flip side, if you're undershooting, look to raise your sensitivity to the point where you're no longer undershooting. It's okay if you still experience overshooting or undershooting with your aim, but the key is to mitigate this as much as possible. After you find that sensitivity, the best advice I can give you is to stick to the sensitivity unless you're experiencing some really serious issues. Keep in mind, each time you swap off your sensitivity to something else, you are relearning a muscle memory. Look at some of the best players in the world. Very few of them are quick to switch their sensitivity. At the end of the day, the sensitivity doesn't make the player, but by following these guidelines and sticking to one sensitivity, you will go much farther than you could ever imagine. In the future, this tip can also translate to other games. As each game feels differently, don't feel the need to have the exact same sensitivity going into a brand new game. Although there isn't such a thing as a perfect crosshair or a perfect crosshair color, if you're having trouble finding ones that work well, there are some simple tips to keep in mind. You ideally want to keep the numbers odd or even to keep the crosshair in line with the center of the screen. My two favorite crosshairs are 1422 with no outlines and 1313 with outlines. They are both medium-sized crosshairs with a simple design. Now, if you're having trouble with color, I'd suggest to stick to colors like green, white, or cyan. I've noticed that they stick out the most and are fairly difficult to lose track of among the chaos that can occur in Valorant. These are just the tips I've noticed that work the most for people. However, just like your sensitivity, feel free to throw out any of these ideas when choosing the right crosshair that suits you. Kovacs is the big boy of all the aim trainers I've used. It is extremely extensive and has scenarios that can fit any player, regardless if you're new or experienced. Not only that, it's more customizable and can really help out players who are serious about improving their mouse control. Kovacs also has the feature to use and create aiming routines, which can help keep you consistently practicing scenarios that you feel can help. Make sure to use the same Valorant sensitivity and 103 field of view, as it will transition better into your Valorant games. You can do this by opening up the settings and selecting Valorant from the drop-down menu. Some scenarios that have personally helped me progress as a player are Bounce 180, One Wall 6 Targets Small, Ascending Tracking version 3, and Bounce 180 Tracking. With the newer updates, Kovacs has even general recommended routines that are fairly good. If you don't know where to start, begin at the beginner routines and just work your way up. You can also head on over to ProGuides.com, where our coaches can develop a more customized routine just for you. There, you can chat with our great coaches and see which one fits you best. Besides that, you can sort by the highest rated in Kovacs, which has some pretty good modes. The key is to not be afraid to try out different ones and figure out which one you like the most. Keep in mind that you should be incorporating both tracking and flicking modes to better round out your aim. Both of these are important skills to have and will help you tremendously in Valorant. Aim Labs is the friendlier, less complex version of Kovacs. Its simpler design and more appealing aesthetic makes it much more beginner friendly. You might have heard of this one because many popular Valorant streamers are actually sponsored by them. Aim Labs is a great way to start and hone your aim, but if you're looking to become more experienced, Kovacs is definitely the better option. Some scenarios that I like to play are grid shot, motion shot, switch track, and circle shot. I recommend that you focus on your accuracy first and work to speed up as you become more comfortable. Many people can get frustrated with their initial scores or progress and even give up on themselves. If you're able to slow your pace down, take each day one by one, you will see the progression both in the aim trainer as well as in Valorant. Similarly to Kovacs, you want to figure out scenarios that incorporate both tracking and flicking aspects to get the most out of it. If you take aim training as seriously as a workout regime, I guarantee you will see improvements in your aim with time. Hate getting full blinded from Phoenix's flash, Breach's flash, or even Sky's flash? Well, playing the game more and actively working on dodging flashes will obviously help a bit. However, one thing that I discovered that helped me stay warm and kept me ready for flashes is by working on dodging my own flash. You can do this in the practice range or even custom matches. Learning how to 180 turn peek your own flash is a tactic that can be covered in a later video and its perks, but I first want to highlight it as an important warm-up routine. I pretty much like to practice throwing out my Phoenix flash and turning 180 degrees to dodge it. Although it's not the same as dodging an enemy's flash, it's still a great way to keep that movement fresh and ready to go when you need it in a game. You can even do it on a specific map around areas that are common to encounter enemy flashes. It's up to your discretion, but with the flash meta in full effect, this is a great technique to practice. The practice range used to be my go-to way of warming up. It had many cool scenarios and is a great way to slowly ease your way into feeling comfortable for your next match. Although I rarely use it anymore ever since Deathmatch was released, I do believe it still has its merits. For example, you can use it without having to leave the lobby while you are waiting for friends to join up or a tournament match to start. Additionally, it's especially convenient if you're not too fond of using third-party aim trainers. If you feel like using third-party aim trainers aren't your style, I'd suggest to continue using the practice range. Make sure you're focusing on your flicking and tracking as well as the different ranges that you are using to shoot the bots. It's also important to change the angle that you are shooting from. Try and shoot from all the different sides and elevations if possible. All of these variations can help more than you might know. At the end of the day, nothing prepares you quite like playing an actual game of Valorant. Although I believe training before your games and outside of your games will help you progress at a much faster rate, if you aren't putting in enough real Valorant games, it wouldn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. It's more important that you play Valorant and improve your aim in-game than spend too much time focusing on the extra resources that are available. Funnily enough, you must keep in mind that nothing translates exactly from Valorant except Valorant, and these third-party aim trainers can only help on the side. If you are able to warm up properly, train your aim consistently, and play Valorant a lot, you will naturally find your aim becoming insanely strong. The last thing I want to leave you on is to make sure that you're paying attention to the types of shots that you tend to miss. Are you struggling with your close range, long range, spray control, burst control, flicking, or tracking? Once you identify the areas you are weaker in, by consciously working on them both in Valorant and with third-party aim trainers, you will find yourself improving faster than all of your friends.
At the end of the day, practice makes perfect. Putting in the necessary amount of time and focusing on the right ways to improve will allow you to have a huge step up over the competition. If you're able to find the right sensitivity, crosshair, and practice the weak points in your aim through any sort of training, your aim will slowly improve over time. If you want to hit the highest rank of Radiant, achieving near perfect aim is one of the major steps in getting there. Here at ProGuides, we wanted to cover some of the typical ways that you can use to improve your aim at a quicker rate. If there are any tips that you feel helped, please be sure to comment and tell us why. Additionally, if there's anything that you think we missed, please let us know. We'd love to learn more too. That's all that we have for this video. I've been Raynox, and I'll see you all in the next one.